Thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Mr. C. Aaron Hinton. It's another episode of Economic Awareness, and I'm here to shoot the breeze with a new guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me, Clinton. My name is Muhammad Jollah, owner of BKP, the Broken Kids Project, the clothing brand that is designed to bring attention to the trauma that we all face and serve as a safe space for those going through these situations.
Commendable. How old are you, bro?
I'm 22 years old.
22 and doing something like that, man. That's what's up. Alright, so we shooting the breeze. We basically going to talk about a little bit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, of course.
And then see where it goes from there. The late great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So let's just start off with you. Like, what you think about him? What's your personal thoughts, feelings, or whatever?
Honestly, the other day I heard something really interesting about him, and not about him, but just the considerations of the things that we went through. I feel like nowadays we really take the freedoms that he fought for us to have for granted. Like, in 2022, do you know how ridiculous it would sound if we had to really fight to try and get to the same bathroom as a white person, or use the same water fountain, even walk the same streets as them? That's stuff that he was real life going through. Like,
right.
We're blessed to the point that we can actually focus on addressing things like mental health, things like that, addressing the trauma that we've been through, really understanding and trying to better ourselves as people. With him and people who grew up in his time, it was really just being in that survival mind state, you understand?
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's okay. I got you. I'm just trying to get my thoughts kind of together, because I mean, I can go on for days about Dr. King. Like,
of course.
Like, first things first, he was like one of the greatest orators ever. Like, of course, Malcolm X was, again, phenomenal. Like, these are people who, I like. You know who T.D. Jakes is?
T.D. Jakes, not familiar. Okay,
he's a black pastor in the South, but he reminds me, and it's honestly interesting. So he has a way of speaking, Reverend Jakes, and it's like a lisp or something that he has. But it doesn't stop him from being a great speech giver. Like, he, of course, even with, like, you would think that a person, like,
that's
say
a
if
hindrance, right? But turn that into a strength.
Wow, like that's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it's funny.
Go ahead.
Not to get off topic too much, but it's funny how I feel like people can turn their hindrances into strength. Like, think of rap music. Biggie, he actually had a lisp, and look at him now. He's a measure of greatness.
Yeah, I didn't even know he had a list, to be honest. Like,
exactly.
Right. Okay.
And integrated into his style, but something to just think about.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I want to stay away from the interview questions. I just want to. I mean, I want to shoot it like with you, like, what do you think if Dr. King was here today? Like, I'm pretty sure you probably seen that episode of the Boondocks.
Where you came back and everybody's just running amok, focused on BET, celebrities, popping out, jewelry, things like that. Part of me feels like he'd actually be, I feel like, just coming from where he did to where we are now, there would be a sense of, like, relief, like, okay, we've gotten somewhere. But at the same time, I do feel like he did in that episode. He might think that, I don't know, maybe he might think that some of us lost our way, in the sense that we're not really as together and combined, willing to stand up for each other. Nowadays, it's always competition between the black man or a black woman counterparts, things like that. it always feels like if somebody's winning, the first thing that someone else might do, someone in my position might do, or would be to hate, like think like, how do you get that, or you're not doing nothing I can't do. That's easy, things like that, instead of really just acknowledging and willing to be proud of somebody who's gotten to a point where they can be successful and just being happy, feeling that sense of pride in somebody else.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna just so based on, like, thinking with Dr. King, I actually had a small portion of the I Have a Dream speech text. Right, cool. I wanted you to read it and then tell me what it means to you. Right.
This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make the real promises of democracy. Yeah, I feel like that's something that, in a way I kind of live my life by, in the sense of not being able to, or not being, I say being able to, like, I don't have the freedom to, but not taking time to relax. This is the time in my life where I feel like I can apply pressure. I feel like I should be applying pressure. I feel like I need to apply pressure in order to really, like, reach out and do what I'm trying to do, as far as create that safe space through my brand, while at the same time having it be like a stylish streetwear brand that people can express themselves with. Right. It's like, don't get comfortable just because you got that one hoodie out. Your hoodies match profits. Don't be comfortable because you got them beanies, everybody like that. You always got to be able to, you always have to be willing to push forward. There's always something more you can do. There's always some other area that could be addressed. There's always someone more you could give back to. Yeah. I feel like I kind of relate in the sense that there's more to be done.
Right. Yeah. Got you. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. Yeah. But as it pertains to, I guess, I mean, that's that. I got that from your personal
kind of,
right now. But as it pertains to the entire community as a whole, because remember, he was speaking to, actually he was speaking to the nation. When he gave this speech,
and he's not wrong. Like, even now, we still have a lot more work to do as far as just like gaining equal rights, gaining equal democratic rights for all of us. Like, look what happened last year, bro. I feel like last year was just like the tipping point. Everyone's seeing what's going on when it comes to the racial injustice that we face in our country. Right. A lot of black men, like even myself, I gotta walk outside. If I'm walking out with a do-rag, I gotta be extra sure tonight. And I have my hands in my pockets. I feel like I'm not fitting the description, because one wrong cop could be the end of it. Right. There is always that pressure that we have to walk with, and I feel like what Dr. King was trying to say back then is that because that pressure still exists, there's still more work to be done. Like, we had to get to that point where there shouldn't be that pressure to fit this image of, like, I'm safe, I'm good to walk around, there's nothing to worry about with me, I should just be able to go outside no matter my appearance, no matter the way, well, I won't say no matter the way I carry myself, because like it does, like you do have to carry yourself with like a sense of pride, dignity, things like that. But I should be able to go outside and not really have to worry, will I be profiled? Will I be looked at the wrong way? Will I be in the wrong place at the wrong time? Because even if you do carry yourself with dignity, class, respect, sometimes the wrong cop might see you. You might fit the description. You might have been around something that had nothing to do with you, and next thing you know, you're in handcuffs. You're in the back of a police van. So,
well, even if sometimes they might just think, "Oh, you are uppity. You were those uppity niggers," because I know how to speak elegantly, or I know how to carry myself correctly. I still get profiled, for real. Like, it's crazy.
And then just talking about speaking like as someone who, like, you speak kind of professional. It's kind of crazy how we look at that and think, why you talk white?
Right.
why should my professionalism or just my mannerisms be equated to whiteness? Why can't I talk like this? Just because, because I like to talk professional. Sometimes I might, and that's a whole nother thing too. That just goes into like the whole code switching thing. I could go on about that for years. Because it's like, when it comes to even having the code switch and stuff like that, why should I have to? Like, I've always thought about this. The things that I've always thought about is just like, yeah, I might be somebody who walks outside. I walk outside with a do-rag and Jordans on, but that shouldn't be a judgment point right there as a black man, or as any man, matter of fact, because you never really know what somebody's going through. I might not have much in my closet to wear. I might not be able to go to that job interview in a suit. I might not be able to go in the 3-piece suit. I might not even have a button-up shirt, bro. But if I can show that I'm at least, I do the things that matter. I come on time. I do the things, what's this race? I put my effort in. I grind down 100%. It's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, my appearance really shouldn't really be that judgment point. These things like that, like, that should just be what it is. That's how I look. But that has nothing to do with me as a person. Or maybe it does.
I mean, it probably does. It just was reminding me of a joke. That it's not even a joke. It's actually a real life situation. Where my homegirl, she had a job interview, and same thing like you was just saying. Like, she didn't have the proper attire because it was like overnight, like tomorrow come in for the interview, and she didn't have the right clothes, and she didn't have a resume printed. Like, she really had nothing that showed that she was going to a job interview.
Exactly.
And her response was like, yeah, I don't have this and I don't have that, but I'm here. So and sometimes that's all it is. Like, your presence is supposed to.
Yeah. And doing, like, I feel like the whole point of an interview process, you see the way me and you were talking to finding out more about each other, like, isn't that what the whole thing is supposed to be?
Yeah, but world is changing around us, man. Like, it's like now they just want to know if you could be a robot.
Yeah, like honestly, talking about robots, if you don't even have that nowadays, if you don't even have that for a lot of like good paying jobs or high level jobs, because I don't really like to label jobs, because at the end of the day, if you enjoy what you do and it's able to provide for you that level of safety, then the whole matter, like, there should be no real judgment, you understand?
Right.
But in the sense of getting like high paying jobs or like jobs in certain fields nowadays, that degree is required nowadays, those years of experience are required, which is like impossible to get if you trying to get your foot in that door. It's like nobody's gonna give you that opportunity if you don't have that year or two going for you. But yeah.
So before I get back to BKP, I did want to ask, as far as like that topic of employment and working goes, like, what would be the difference? Well, actually, no. I'm asking a question I probably already know the answer to, but I'm still just want to see how you think about it.
I understand.
What would be the difference between a person who probably graduated from high school and just went and got a job at Target or Walmart or something like that, and then they had a friend who was in school who went off to college and did 6 to 8 years and got a degree or two, and then that friend comes back and they apply for a job at Walmart or Target, and they immediately get the manager position. But the person who was there since 18, they didn't go to college, but all those years that they've worked there, they could move up the ranks.
But didn't get to move up the ranks, you trying to say?
Well, I'm hoping they did. I'm just saying, I guess I'm making a statement. It's not really a question. It's like, the same amount of time that someone could take to go the education route, another person could take and just gain experience in a company or and still end up at the same level. But then, the question that I said was already answered is because like you mentioned earlier, people they want to see the paperwork now, like like they don't want to just give people positions.
And even then, it's like your job pool. Don't you think your job pool will be only limited to what you could get without a degree?
Right.
Like, they like to say that degree opens doors for you, but even then, like, certain degrees only open certain doors. Like, I'll open up a little bit. As a graphic designer, somebody with a graphic design degree, yeah, that degree is cool, but they can only do so much. They got to see that work put in too.
Right.
That's what I like to show with BKP, things like that. You got to see that portfolio. Got to see those freelance projects. Have you done website work? Are you able to animate? Things like that. So it's interesting how we kind of got on that degree tuck, but even then, sometimes that degree alone isn't even enough.
Right. Mm-hmm. What about like nepotism? You know what that is?
What's that?
Nepotism is like he only got the job because his father is friends with. You know what I mean? So basically, it's like getting favor because you was born into a certain family.
See, that's an interesting topic too, because I feel with the whole wealth situation as black men in America, or just black people in America versus white people in America, a lot of the white icons and celebrities that people like to look at, people tend to think that they've gotten as far as they were just through strictly hard work, but connections are a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And being born into certain families or born into different areas where you can have accessible connections really plays a part as well. But to go back to nepotism, honestly, it's interesting. Part of me doesn't feel like it's completely evil, like though some of the things that we do experience-wise, we go out, we try new things. Like I'm trying this podcast. The reason I'm doing that is to get known, to get more people to talk to widen your horizons. Right. So I don't completely think that's a bad thing, but at the same time, I feel like there's a strength in understanding that people made connections to get to where they are. 9 times out of 10, the way the world works, you want to get in that seat. You want to get at that point where you can broadcast your brand. Somebody, you might not be able to do it yourself. Somebody might have to put you on.
Right.
And there's a power in relying on others to get further.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I think personally is like it's just the unfair advantage. It's like kind of like when people got the rights to vote. You know, they fought so hard for those rights. But then they put in the grandfather clause. Yeah. Like all of a sudden, okay, so now you're saying I got the right to vote, but the only way I can vote is if my grandfather was eligible or to vote. You know, so it was like,
that's the thing. Even now, it's one of those things where it's like you look at it now and it's like we're really talking about voting rights in 2022. And that's just one of the many things that Dr.
Something
King
they was fighting for in the 60s.
Exactly.
Like that like that I can't help but keep seeing that. Like, yo, why was a lot of this stuff? So people say, well, history repeats itself, but I think it's like you're only doomed to repeat it if you don't learn from it. Like, exactly. You know, like, so like what are we learning from all of this stuff?
Sometimes it might not even all be up to us, like, because we're not in that position of power to really make a difference in the economy that we
always are when we're united. You understand? Like, that's the problem.
Yeah, that is true.
That's the problem, because if we stood united, look at how much you can give Dr. King all the credit, you know, but it's also like, if all those people weren't there and behind him,
exactly.
then what good
power would it have? Like,
right,
one person can only go so far.
Yeah,
it takes a village.
Exactly. So,
honestly,
I wanted to bring up another topic. I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, and I'm also not sure if you, I'm gonna just bring it up, which is euthanasia. What are your thoughts on that?
I am not too familiar.
All right. So you help us out. You tell the people what it is, and then tell us what you think about it.
The painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable, painful disease or an irreversible coma. The practice is illegal in most countries. See, first thing that comes to mind, don't don't patients like in America, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but like, don't you have like ability to sign like a do not resuscitate form, things like that? Yeah, so I don't know if this kind of falls under that same guise or whatever, but as far as euthanasia, honestly, it's real tricky because I personally think no human has the right to take the life of somebody else, period. But I can understand why. The practice might have been done. I can understand why the practice might have been done, or why certain people would do that in the medical field. But at that same time, it's like, I don't know. Even if it makes sense, I'm not really sure. Because there's a lot you go into, like, if somebody's brain dead, can't really even make the decision for themselves.
So that's what I was going to kind of do. Like, let's put it in a scenario. Like, you know, you have a family member who is terminally ill.
Exactly.
And it's probably costing your family a whole shitload of money
to even like
keep this person alive. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, this person is in agonizing pain every day they're alive. Do you say, because another term for euthanasia is mercy killing, or, you know, I guess what a younger person might say is putting someone out of their misery. You know,
and it's like I could understand it, but there's just part of me that really...
I mean, I guess my question, though, is not a matter of your comprehension. The question is more of your ability. Like, would you be able to pull a plug on somebody that you love? If your mother was really sick, or if your grandmother was really, you know... And again, I mean, sometimes money comes into part. Like, you know, the money it costs. It's like, yo, it's draining the family. Like, we can't afford this, you know. Or sometimes money has nothing to do with it. Because some people will say, I don't care how much it costs. Keep them, you know what I mean? Like, those are people who got money, though.
And even then, like, I feel another thing that I'd have to consider is, like, the actual person. Like, even though my mom is still excruciating pain, my mindset might be, I want to take out her misery. I can't stand to see her like this. She might be, I can't stand to feel like this. Please help me get better. There might still be a light at the end of the tunnel for that person who's going through that. But for you to decide based on how you feel is, to answer your question, I don't think I'd have the ability to do that. Like,
what if the person asked you to?
If they were to ask, I think that would be, even then, it would really take a lot. Like, I feel like if they were to ask me to, that might be the wrench that makes me pause and go, if it's for this person, if that's what they want. Because at some point, and this is just like, this kind of going into just like one of the things I'm trying to tell myself. At some point, when it comes to people, it's not always about you. You can only do so much, but until you're in that person's shoes, you can't really understand the things that go through a person's mind. You can't really feel what that other person is going through. So you have to take heed to that and make your decision based off of that. You understand?
Right. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to bring up this guy here, Dr. Kevorkian, because everyone, as it pertains to euthanasia, I think that he was like the most well-known person as it pertains to this topic.
I understand.
And it's like he was an American pathologist and euthanasia proponent. He publicly championed a terminal patient's right to die by physician-assisted suicide, embodied in his quote, "Dying is not a crime." Kevorkian said that he assisted at least 130 patients to that end.
130?
Yeah, 130 people he killed. I mean, well, I guess,
he did.
Euthanized, right? Yeah.
It's like,
all right, yeah, because that's what he's trying to convince, to convey to people. Like, it's not the same thing as murder.
But in that case, though, that's actually kind of scary for me to think about, because it's like, at what point
These were people who came to him.
All 130 of them.
I'm pretty sure they came to him. You go to the doctor, don't you? The doctor don't come to you. You go to the doctor and you can pick which doctor you want to go to and which one you want to see. These people knew what the hell he was doing. Some of them went to him specifically for this.
Yikes.
Because he was the only doctor willing to do it. You understand? Like, there's a lot of doctors that's not me. I
already know if I was one of them doctors. You know?
Yeah, but he was actually one. And again, and you heard his statement. Like, you know, he didn't think it was a crime at all. What do you think? Because this is the ethical part about it. Like, we're really trying to get into ethics, you know. Yeah. And the ethical part is, you know, a doctor is supposed to save lives. Yeah, that's exactly what you get in that field for. Mm-hmm. But then you had this one who was completely doing the opposite. Like, but he again said, how did he put it again? Was it assisted suicide? I think. Yeah, assisted at least, because that's it. Because these people want to die, they just don't have what it takes
to do it themselves. Right. They need somebody to pull that plug for them. He is. I don't even know what to. I'd say he is. He's definitely stronger than me. I don't know if I could be able to put myself in that type of situation. Being able to really euthanize somebody.
I'll be in that hospital unplugging everything. Like that. I'm joking. Instead of plugging all these
because it's it's funny you joke about that, but it's like at some point it really makes you think, like, at what point did it really become like, there might be, I think the way he might have thought about it, and this is coming from somebody who just learned about him the first time, there might have been power in doing something that you thought was right. But at the same time, sometimes, whether it come from right or wrong or whatever, the people that think, nobody ever thinks that they're doing wrong. So it really comes to that moral question, like, what was he with the things that he was doing? Would you consider that just? Would you consider that right? He probably thought that he was doing the good, but others might go, but still, that person has a right to life. But at that same time, these people are coming, they kind of know what they're getting themselves into.
This is a service that he is providing. You understand? Yeah. It's not like...
It's not like I'm just here. Bow, bow.
Right. They didn't get sick in his care. You understand? They didn't. Like, they were already close to the end, you know, and they really didn't want to live anymore. And they just wanted somebody to help them transition from that, you know.
Make it a painless end. Yeah. I could definitely I feel like I can most understand that in the terms or in the case of terminal illness. You understand?
Yeah.
Like...
And that was some of these people. Now there are other people, I guess, like the coma patients. Yeah. So they're not even aware. They don't know what's going on because they're in a coma.
Exactly.
You know? And, you know, then people still make the choice. Like, you know, do you want to pull the plug? Because the only thing that's keeping them alive at this moment is this machine.
Yeah.
Do you want your relative to live on the machine for the rest of their life? Or should we just go ahead and pull the plug and call it quits? Now, there have been stories where people have waken up out of years,
like 50-year comas,
you know, I mean, not quite that many years, but you know, but yeah, quite some time. Like, you know, where people really didn't think they were gonna, you know, or somebody obviously thought they was gonna make it because they kept them on the support, you know, so they was praying a lot and like, you know,
sometimes those prayers get answered.
Well, what would you feel, or how would you? I mean, you already made it clear you ain't pulling no plugs.
Yeah, I feel like just don't.
That's just a personal thing for you. Yeah, that you can't just. All right, cool. All right. Would you want someone to do it for you?
Honestly, for me, it's the first thing that comes to my mind is I don't want to be a burden. Like, you know, like.
Okay, I think I'm following you. I just wanted to make sure.
Like, honestly, because it's interesting, I wouldn't be able to do that, but understanding, it kind of goes back to the things that you were saying, understanding that keeping someone alive, those medical bills do really pile up. I feel if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I at least, if anything, in my case, give me a fighting chance. Like, don't pull my plug on like the first day of my coma, please.
Oh, it's not the first day. Like, no, not the first day. But I mean, but there have probably been cases where doctors would diagnose, you know, like I said, like they can tell the family, like, they ain't never gonna breathe without this machine. Like, you understand, without these tubes in their, you know, body, or without this, you know, they, or if they ever do, or they brain dead, or you know what I mean, like, or if they ever wake up, they're not going to be the same. They're going to be paralyzed from the waist down, or you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot of different types of conditions, and some people would be like, I've seen it, I've heard it. My family wouldn't want to live like that. You know, and they'll make the choice to just go ahead and pull a plug, like you know. But we don't never really know what a person really. Even a person who say they want to kill themselves, they might say that today, and then tomorrow be like
somebody puts the gun on the table and you can't
and then they can't So okay, cool.
You realize there's more to live for.
So we're gonna take a break real quick. Actually, we don't even have to break. I can just pause it and we can just pick right back up. So so talk more about BKP. Like,
so BKP, the Broken Kids Project, again, as I mentioned before, is a clothing brand that I came up with last year. I think like in a couple days it actually makes a year.
So this is fairly new. Oh, okay, cool.
I feel the main thing that I wanted to do was really represent like mental health problems, trauma, things that people fight behind closed door. And when I say trauma, that doesn't always have to be in the mental and the mind. It could be physical as well. Some people might be going home and, pardon my language, getting their asses beat. Like, on some real. I feel it's my mission as a designer to really bring attention to the things that people might go through and say, it's alright. Like, it's normal to have gone through these things. It's normal to wear these things on your sleeve. Those experiences might have shaped you into the positive or negative, or the person that you are today. And it's nothing really wrong with, you know, repping that I'm not perfect, I'm broken. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's what I really want to emulate.
Who would you say your target population is?
I'd say around people, I'd say, if we're talking ages, I'd probably talk from like teenagers, 14, 15, to people my age, 19, 20, and even older adults as well. The reason that I say, like, when I say older adults, like 35, 40-ish, maybe even 50-year-olds is really relate. The reason I say that is because what they all have in common is 9 times out of 10 the need to keep up appearances. Like, you feel like you had to meet this guise of, especially with like social media nowadays, you feel like you had to meet this guise of, oh, I got everything going on good, everything's going good in my life, I'm on vacation, it's good vibes only. I want to spit like a spiritual joke, but I'm forgetting the phrase right now.
Right,
my chakras are aligned, all of that. But it's just like sometimes, 9 times out of 10, people just doing that for the outside, and then gotta go back and really face reality. Nah, bro. Like, if you don't got shit figured out, I don't got nothing figured out right now. This is my first year doing this. I'm still making mistakes. I might never have this whole thing we call life figured out. And what I'm trying to do through this band is just say, like, yo, that's okay, bro. Rep that. It's like, it's what makes you you. We not perfect, bro.
That's definitely honorable, bro. Like, and for someone so young, you said you what, 22?
Yeah.
And you already have that mentality, and you actually not just thinking about it, but actually doing something.
Part of the reason I decided to start at this age too, like, I'm aware that, not to like toot my own horn or like not sound humble or nothing, but like, I'm aware that it's a little bit early for me to be doing this, but it's just like, at the end of the day, if I mess up at this, God forbid I mess up at this, I still got time.
Yeah, so I don't think you're gonna mess up. I think you got it. Like, you definitely, well, you got our support. I can say that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like, go ahead and talk about this. These cats are driving me crazy. See how they looking at me like
Marvin.
It's great.
But yeah, bro, I always feel like it's alright to, like, you know, if you're going through it right now. Another thing that I like to mention with this, like, yes, you might be going through these hard times, and it's important to read that. But sometimes the hard times don't last.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Time, I don't want to say time heals all wounds, because, like, honestly, through time you learn. Through time you grow stronger, you grow wiser, and you learn how to deal with certain things, with whatever way that might be for you.
Right.
It's just like, honestly, when it comes to this whole thing, we might never have things figured out. We might never have things figured out, and that's okay. But things do get better. You don't always have to suffer. And wearing that on your shield that you are suffering, like, or that you might be going through things that you don't have things figured out, could make you feel a lot better. It's funny, like, the place that I wasn't mentally when I first made this thing, I was kind of like, you just going through anxiety trying to figure out what you want to do in life. As far as school, what the future holds, as far as relationships, am I going to have kids? Am I going to be an XYZ woman? 1, 2, 3, am I ever going to find what I'm meant to do in life? But I think that's kind of what put this whole thing together, like, just that uncertainty, and knowing that I'm really uncertain as to what's going on. I'm able to wear that on my sleeve, and now I've actually felt a lot better than I have felt in years. Like, on some real, it's like I'm able to talk about these things now. I'm able to wear that on my sleeve. I'm able to say I'm not perfect.
Right.
And hopefully, like, as I go on through life, maybe if I'm going through bumps in the road, I can talk about that too. Like, you know.
So I was gonna ask you about cloning and your feelings towards cloning.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I'm not going to. We'll get back to it. But I did, because you kind of tapped into it as you was explaining what BKP stands for. The topic of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at with that? Like,
honestly, it's like there's a bit of complication with it, the way I see it, because it can go both ways. And I feel as men, like me as a man, I would never put my hands on a woman, but I feel it's also important. And when I say this, I really don't want to, like, gaslight anybody or, like, say that your experiences don't matter, but I feel it's important that we as men be able to come forward and say, like, if I'm in situations where somebody is domestically abusing me, like, I'm with an abusive girlfriend who likes to hit on you, things like that. As men, as black men especially, working the shit, like, nah, bro, you gotta take that. Like, yeah, like, she's slapping you up, like, don't worry about that, bro. Like, things like that. You gotta be able to, like, hold that on your shield. But, like, if it's bothering you, you gotta be able to speak up about things like this. And that goes for both genders as well. I don't want to make this just about me, but it's like, I want to be able to encourage people to speak on these things. Like, it really goes back to that core mission of wearing that trauma on your sleeve, because it's like that could influence somebody, not even just through wearing my brand, but just seeing what I have going on. Like, you're able to see that he doesn't have things perfect. He's going through his own things. Maybe it's funny because, like, the way I talk about this thing, I kind of like to have this universal message, but it's really an interpersonal thing with me too. But going back to domestic violence victims, I really want to feel I can empower somebody to speak if they're going through these situations, and that's a lot easier said than done.
And what about the abuser though? Like,
yeah, the abuser, someone who's actually engaging in the act of domestic violence. See, that is an interesting one, because I'm a strong believer in empathy. Like, when it comes to treating people certain ways, like, if you don't want that done onto you, don't do it onto others. Or if you're gonna, like, you know, like, just think for a second. It might even be to the point where, like, it's kind of a curse to me. Like, you think so much of other people that you kind of forget about yourself. But yeah, like, for the abuser, I'd say, like, just carry that sense of empathy. I don't know how, in the mind of somebody who might be abusing somebody, I feel like there's just a disconnect there. Like, I might not be able to. This person, they're strong enough. What I'm doing, not even bothering them. Who cares about them anyway? But that's not really true. Like, even if you're not seeing that, even if that person isn't coming to you, because, like, obviously you're abusing them, you might not even think that your behavior is abusive, but you really gotta think, like, it takes a lot to, like, really step back and go, hold on, am I wilding right now? Like, I'm beating this boy up right now, but, like, am I doing too much? I'm beating my wife up right now. I'm giving her a slap across the face. She ain't saying nothing about it, but hold on, I might have to,
Now, domestic just means in the home, right? It's not always lovers or spouses or, it could be like two brothers fighting or a mom beating her daughter or, it could be anything that's just going on within the household is considered domestic violence. It doesn't always have, we always think immediately, a husband beating his wife, but it's like.
It could be your brother fighting your brother.
Right. It could be,
your pops beating your kids.
So, now with all that being said, I want to also, do you think it's different in a same-sex relationship?
In a same-sex relationship, I still feel it's the same, because I still feel it goes back to, well, actually, I don't want to say it's completely the same, because as I'm talking my experience as a black man. Let me put on the black men have been through this hat for a second. As black men, we're conditioned to be a little bit more tough and fight back. Right. Whether that be a woman abusing us in our life, whether that be somebody steps to you, somebody steps to you, bro. You got square up for me. But in that sense, when it comes to a same-sex relationship between two men, there could be that sense of not backing down. Like, you're automatically conditioned to be strong. That nigga fighting you, bro. Fight back. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I don't want to say the world we live in. I'll be a little bit frank. The world we live in, maybe when it comes for women, but at the same time, it's like
it's two females.
Yeah, it's like we're talking two women, so it's like maybe there is like a similarity. Maybe there's not. Like, when it comes to same sex, it does kind of boil down to the same. Like, this girl stepping to you, you fight back. You know what I'm saying? But,
I'm not a fan of violence, period, at all. Like, whether it's domestic, foreign, outside, I'm really just not a fan of violence. I feel like as a human being, we should all be able to be civilized and have a discussion, a conversation.
It's funny.
About
it's funny, like, what I'm about to say. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Nah, you good.
Yeah, but it's funny, as someone who's grown up, like, I took boxing training when I was in the 10th grade, and I've been doing karate since I was 7 years old. I actually have a black belt in karate.
So you flexible too, or you just
somewhat? Like, every morning, I'm gonna give y'all some advice right now. Every morning, do some stretches.
Yeah, I could use that advice.
I'm telling you,
I could definitely use that advice.
Do a little arm, do a little 1, 2, touch your toes, things like that. It does wonders for you.
I used to, actually, to be honest. And then I just kind of got lazy. Some mornings I don't even get out the bed. It depends on the day, of course. But hey, when you're self-employed, you get, you get to make those kind of decisions.
But what I'm saying.
Yeah, my bad. You was saying, was you going off? Was it still domestic violence? Or was
about violence. Like, as someone who's practiced like karate, boxing, and things like that. I'm actually a big fan of like the UFC, but
you like MMA?
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah, like one of the fighters on there. Have you ever heard of Israel Adesanya?
Honestly speaking, I don't get into like the specifics. I'll just you know, like if it's on the TV, I probably don't even keep the audio on. I just would probably watch the video, you know.
Yeah, no problem.
It can get a little gory for me. So like I really don't feel comfortable watching people beat on people. But the only reason I could watch it there is because it's a sport. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like it's an unfair advantage. You understand? Like usually they pair people up with people who are in the same weight class and
do
you know
the same type of training,
right? You know, so it's kind of like
that.
a fair fight. You know, it's really just a matter of whose day is it today. Like,
but yeah, only reason I bring him up is because again, he kind of relates back to like the whole thing I'm pushing with BKP. Like he's somebody who's like a black. He's the middleweight champion of the world from Nigeria, and he does.
I mean,
he's a real like.
You could have brought him up real quick.
Yeah,
like that's
nah.
like,
I forget, like bro, podcasting, bro.
Like you know, I would like to see what you're talking about.
But yeah,
you want to show a video or just he does look a little familiar. Have I seen him fight before? Yeah, I think I have seen this man fight before.
Yeah, but he's like a real anime head. Like you even see, like he does like the illustrations, stuff like that. Let's see if I can find like an anime drawing or something.
Do he have a lot of first round knockouts, or is he one of those long, you know?
Yeah, like, I mean, he has a couple knockouts, I'll show you this one. He has a couple knockouts, some first round, some goes the distance. He's one of those fighters where I can relate to him in a lot of senses. Like if I were to be an MMA fighter, he really takes what's given to him and doesn't do too much. Like takes his time.
So this anime thing is about what?
But
that's what he created?
Not even what he created. It's just like that's him really expressing himself as a person. A lot of the things that people will really be scared to, like, it's funny, like, you could ask a lot of anime fans, like, back in, like, elementary school, things like that. You talked about, like, an anime, it was, what the hell is that? Like, you watch Naruto? What is that? What are they doing? But now it's like everybody's, like, following it. And I'm not trying to say that, like, everything that you like is going to be widely accepted and things like that. But you do that, you wear it on your shield, you... be yourself, things like that. I'm
still not a big fan of anime. A great, you know, anime fan.
It's and not honestly speaking,
well, I know. I can't do the subs. Now, if it was a dub, I can watch it, right? You know, but by the time they get it dubbed, it's so old. Like, you know what I mean?
Hey, like, man, old is gold, bro.
Big facts. So I don't know. I'll probably get into it a bit more. But yeah, like Dragon Ball Z is probably the closest I could say.
Hey, Dragon Ball Z. If it weren't for Dragon Ball Z, I might not even be sitting here with you, right? Like, for real, like watching all that Dragon Ball Z is what made me start doing them little sketches in third grade. Led to me doing like going to school for graphic design.
I still can't wait to see some of your stuff. Like I know about the clothing line, but I didn't know that you were an artist as well. Like,
hey, if y'all want to follow me on Instagram, Mu the Designer, MU the Designer. I do a lot of other stuff on there too. Shout out to my son, Mr. Dior 22, one of the gamers that I work for. We've done a lot of local projects together, streams 2K, things like that. Follow him on Twitch if y'all trying to get on there. But yeah, like I feel like if I wasn't doing like just clothing and things like that, I'd still be doing design somehow. Like I'm one of those guys where the same way I kind of can't get off my phone, that's something I gotta work on. I have to work on that. Not being on my phone so much. Like I can't like sit down and have a piece of paper in front of me and not like sketch something up. Like,
well, I mean, I'll tell you that you've been doing a great job since you've been here. Like, I monitored it, you know, like, like I keep an eye on things, like, you know, and I think that you've been doing a pretty decent job.
Because you're in certain spaces, I feel like when I'm like talking to somebody, I like to be present.
Right.
Like one of the mindsets that I came in before I even walked in here was just take things in.
Right, because you probably wasn't even expecting it to be an apartment, right? Like, I forget that sometimes that, you know, I'm inviting people to my home.
But at that same time, it's like, you're not expecting that, but then I gotta look back at myself. My first photo shoot for BKP for all these hoodies that, thank God, I was able to sell most of them out. I did that shoot out my crib. So it's like, hey man, somebody's doing this. Yeah. You're doing the same, bro.
I mean, I was just I wanted to create a studio, and again, it was so much invested. Like, I mean, people could, they have spaces where you can go and rent, and go use their equipment, you know. But I didn't feel like that was. I wanted it to have this kind of, I wanted people to feel comfortable coming into.
I bet that's a constant reminder too. Like, you wake up and I know it pushes you forward, doesn't it?
I mean, most of the days, lately I've been doing a lot of editing. Like, I'm learning how to edit because I can't afford to pay nobody to do nothing. So, like, and the people who volunteer, as much as it's appreciated, they don't really last because, how long is somebody going to do something for free at the end of the day? Especially if, like you said, they got to really like that or really want to, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise it's not, now if they feel like they just doing you a favor, then it's like, once they feel like the favor's over or done, they out.
I definitely understand.
So it definitely gets, real difficult. All right, let's hit that last topic, cloning.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? What's your thoughts on cloning and feelings?
You said cloning.
Cloning, like,
But honestly, there can only be one me.
That's how I feel.
The way, when it comes to cloning and things like that, part of me wishes I had a clone so I'd be able to bounce, like, all these ideas off of myself. I feel like if I had a clone, I don't know if I'd agree with everything I did or disagree with everything I did. But I definitely want somebody to, like, do some more classwork for me, take some of the workload off, that type of thing.
So it's more about labor for you if you had one, not really the mental aspect.
Like if somebody were to make me a clone, like, take the like creative side ideas, let me keep that. Put the work ethic, put like a lot of that work ethic in that clone. Feel me? Like, imagine two people who like grind things out the way I do, bro. That's scary.
So I mean, what do you feel about it ethically, though, or ethic wise? Meaning like the morality of it. Creating a life without it being, or creating a life in this world without it coming through a womb. Which is the laws, the natural laws. Like, the only way for human beings to be present here is that they have to come out of a mother's womb.
See, it's so crazy that you talk about that. Like, it's so far out of my imagination to even like think that, because it's actually being considered, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it's just like, I really couldn't imagine that just because it's so foreign. Like, being able to clone somebody and like manufacture life, that just feels like a domain that we as humans the humans that God put us on this earth, like the way that we function, there's just certain things that you shouldn't touch. Like, don't try and manufacture life. There's only one way for life to be brought into this world. As you said, the mother through the womb or the chick through the egg, things like that. Like, it's just certain points where it's like, hey, you're messing with a power that you might not want to touch. That's just one of those, like, I honestly think it's wild.
I mean, I don't really ever think that there's no right or wrong answers for these things. Like, like even with the euthanasia, it's like anyone would say, like, you initially set off the rip, killing is wrong. You don't have the right to take another person's life. But then when you explain it as being assistant suicide and not or mercy killing, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's just a mass murder running around chopping people's heads off and stuff. Like, this is a person who people actually seek out and ask them
he's doing it.
He's willing to do it. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he made a lot of money. I didn't even get to bring that part up. Like, how much money he probably made doing that. Like, put his net worth in.
100,000.
That's it.
Really?
He probably went broke fighting them cases in court.
Yeah. They probably don't want us to know how much money you really made.
Yeah, you know, or he probably had his money on some offshore account somewhere. Or they probably paid in cash. Like, now we don't need no paper trail on this. Except cash only. No, so we was back to the cloning thing though, and the ethics of it. Like, I hear what that was really. Oh, sorry. No. Let me move back. So basically, I was just saying, like, there's no right or wrong answers to any of these. These are just things that we as human beings, what I believe personally is that we're evolving, and these are the types of scenarios and situations that we're gonna have to really be.
They might be brought to our footstep one day.
Yes, very soon too. You know what I mean? Like, these are decisions. Like, another one is abortion, but we agreed that we're not going to talk about that. But, you know, a lot of people feel like, you know, oh, it's a woman's choice, it's her body, she should be able to do whatever she wants. And then there's some people who's like, no, that's still murder if you kill. What I could ask, you know, not whether you think it's right or wrong, what I could ask is, do you think that it should be required for a woman to speak with the man who impregnated her before making a decision like that?
I mean, honestly, even then, I feel that's something that, as a man, you can't really... Ultimately, you can't really have much of a say. Like, if I were to impregnate somebody and want to have the kid, it's best that I do that with somebody who actually is on my same wavelength. Like, not to like really...
This guy.
Because it's like,
too wise beyond his years, ladies and gentlemen. Too wise. You've been here before.
But it's like, I don't know how to put it. Like, just, even when it comes to just like dealing with certain people, I feel like it's really, like, just to go into relationships for a second, it's really a blessing to find somebody who might fully be on your wavelength and be able to understand you, or maybe not, and be willing to put in that effort and really like connect with you, whether that be emotionally, spiritually, supporting your goals, things like that. Like, that's something that's really rare, like, in the sense that, like, why would you do that? What do you have to gain from that? Because a lot of, like, even with I feel my generation is pretty selfish when it comes to certain things. Like, we always got to find out what's in it for me. But just to really like go on that, it's like, it's really a blessing to have somebody who will be able to connect with you on your certain wavelength, or at least try.
So I hear everything you're saying, and as it pertains to a woman and her choice, I hear exactly what you're saying. Now I'll ask, do you think it's right or wrong?
Do I think abortion's right or wrong?
Yeah.
I think that depends on the person, honestly. Like, this is the point where I feel like I can't really speak much on that. Like,
I feel you. I mean, I don't like to talk much on it either. I mean, because because every situation is going to be unique. But see, this is another ethical topic. So you see, we just went through 3: euthanasia, cloning, abortion. These are things that, you know, they going on. You understand? Exactly. Like, they going on. And I just made all this up today.
I feel like, I'll say this, I feel like it's right that women have a choice. I feel senators, like, a lot of the politicians who are making choices for these women are men.
Right.
And doesn't that sound crazy?
It kind of does, yeah.
Like,
it definitely does.
Old white men are making decisions on if a woman should be able to make a choice about her body. That's just...
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I find it insane. But yeah.
I mean, or maybe it shouldn't be something that should be discussed in law. Like, I think that's probably part of the issue with a lot of these ethical issues, because it's like, the law states one thing, and we want to follow the law, but there's certain scenarios where
things can be.
Yeah, like the law shouldn't even be like the law doesn't even come into because well, obviously it does because if they arrested this man, Dr. Kevorkian, did they arrest him? I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah,
but did he go to jail? Let's see. Personal life
served 8 years, 10, 20.
Oh, so he's
he went to jail for that
25. Damn. Released on parole. Condition: he would not offer advice about president.
Suicide. Wow. That's really crazy. They really let him go, just saying like you can't talk about nothing suicide related. But
well, I mean, Dr. Conrad Murray, and I always wondered that, like, was that you know who Dr. Conrad Murray is, right?
No.
That's the doctor that was found guilty of killing Michael Jackson.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I always thought, like, was he pulling a Dr. Kevorkian? Like, did Michael probably really want to go and hire a doctor to come in and do it for him?
But Michael Jackson is, and even in that case, like Michael Jackson wasn't terminally ill or nothing like that, right?
I guess it's open to interpretation. I mean, he was obviously sick. Like, you know, like, I don't know if it was terminal, but, you know, he was obviously sick.
Because it was like, if it's me, like, again, as I said, like, give me a fighting chance. Like, if I could get back, I'm going to get back.
I don't know. Me on the deathbed, I guess it depends on the amount of pain I'm in, you know?
Yeah, that's
like, because I think that's ultimately what these people that he helped, you know, it was the pain. Like, you know, they just couldn't take it anymore. It was unbearable. Or they had
and it's hard for people to watch these.
Right. They had loved ones who didn't want to sit there and witness that and endure that. You got anything else you want to throw out?
But yeah, BKP, the Broken Kids Project, it's chilly outside. We got them embroidered beanies out right now, 6 colorways. You can find out all you want to know about the Broken Kids Project. My Instagram is BKP, thebrokenkidsproject.com. You want to shop the merchandise, it's BKP, thebrokenkidsproject.com. I said .com twice, but Instagram is BKP, the Broken Kids Project. Website, BKP, thebrokenkidsproject.com. Definitely encourage you all to go ahead, go shop. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm really trying to make a difference here. So, all support is encouraged.
No doubt. I'm definitely going to get mine.
Of course.
And, you know, we'll talk to you guys when we come back on the next show. If you want to be a part of the team or whatever, you know, you could reach out to us, talk about it. 569gmail.com. Talk about it 569@gmail.com, or you can always reach us at 718-462-0249. Thank y'all for tuning in, and have a good one.